Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Let's move on to our good. DJ, what was your good for week 17?
I had to give it to Penix Jr. last
Okay.
night. It's one thing if he were to come in the beginning of the season and play the last two games like he has. It's like, oh wow, he's on to a good start. He's handling the speed of the NFL pretty well, seeing things well. But when you come into it when your team is basically in playoff games, like these games have basically been elimination games, and they've been against playoff. Like last week, not the Giants are horrible, but like
Right.
last night, you're against the Commanders, who's a playoff team, and he played really well. I mean, he did miss 3 to 4 passes that would have totally changed the game. Two of them were touchdown passes, two of them were longer passes that were just off. They're just his passes were just off. But I mean, he wasn't rushed. He didn't throw a bunch of dumb interceptions. He commanded the offense really well. Just overall, it's like he was very poised for being a rookie quarterback that just got thrown into Lions Den with hardly any reps or anything during the regular season. So I just wanted, it wasn't a great, but I mean, he did what he had to do to win the game. He got the ball, last drive of the game, went right down the field, scored a touchdown, get him in. I thought they should have gone for two. It's like when you're on the road and you got a rookie quarterback in a second game and you have a chance, one play, 2 yards to win the game. I think you got to take that, but especially when you knew you couldn't really. I mean, they stopped the Commanders, but you knew if they got the ball in overtime, it was going to be probably 4 down territory and really rough. And that's what happened. But overall, like I say, good for him. Happy to see how he's doing. It'll be interesting what they decide in the offseason now.
Yeah, no, it's so they got knocked out of the top spot in the NFC South, and they still can win it, but they need the Bucks to lose and them to win in order to get into the playoffs. But I agree, Penix looked pretty poised. I think his arm, he has a cannon, man. There was some throws I was pretty impressed with. And you're right. If it was just there was about 3 or 4 throws, if it was just a little bit like on target, you're talking about touchdowns. So you're absolutely right. He looked pretty solid yesterday. And again, it was against a playoff team under those circumstances. He was unable to, get the team where it needed to be, but he definitely got him in a position to win the game. So yeah, that's a good for week 17. Okay. Let me give you my good. I'm gonna give it to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are the number one seed, and they did it by beating the Steelers, and that happened, I believe, Wednesday, which it feels like so long ago already.
Yeah, that was.
But the Steelers were the eighth scoring defense, and we know the Chiefs have had problems with their offense, but they looked pretty good. Their offense looked like they were humming. Wednesday, Mahomes had 320 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 90 QBR, and he spread the ball around. Brown showed up. Kelsey had a couple of plays. Worthy looked good. So it just looked like it's not like vintage Chiefs offense, but somewhere between like how are they going to get to 20 points to that Chiefs height that we know that they could reach throughout the years. It was somewhere in between there. It looked good against a good defense, one of the best in the league. So I'm going to give them a good for doing that and clinching the number one seed and not having to play next week.
Yeah, I have to say, a lot of people probably don't want to hear this, but they do look a lot like the dynasty we just got off of with the Patriots.
Hmm.
As far as they don't look overly flashy, they basically go into the game and they say, what does this team not do well? And we're
Hmm.
going to alter how we play to use make a game plan to our advantage to attack that team's weakness. It's like they can win a 10-7 game, or it seems like they can win a 30-28 game. It's like they just find ways to win. It's sometimes it almost looks painful to watch, but it's like they win the games, and that's exactly what you do to get into in the playoffs, because it almost seems over the years, if you have a team that's just like blowing people out all year, then they get in the playoffs and they're in a tight, 13-10 game and they end up losing because they don't know how to handle that, where the Chiefs are like, they're totally going to be cool under pressure. They know how to win. They know what to do. And until I see them beat, it's like I'm gonna bet on them at this point because they just know how to win the game, and no matter what type of situation they're in.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Okay, you ready to move on to the bad?
Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.